Hello, welcome back to another day of Axie Infinity Origin Season 1 meta-analysis and team highlight. So today is day, I think, 13 already, and of course, people are getting most of the epics and rare charms and runes already, and of course, the only thing that's missing is really the mystic, and you do see some mystic propping up already. Well, we do have the NS Anger that Span Rice is using. Of course, those are really the people who really have grinded quite a bit and finally get to the Mystic and Shady Exchange here as well. And I would assume that you'll probably see that more and more over the days. But of course, now it's still not really. I only see 2 of them so far on the top. And also interestingly, still the 2 main teams that are on top. One is the Beast, the Fury Beast, and the Dawn Sustain. And I guess the odd one out here is definitely this one, Span Rice's team, which I featured yesterday. So do check out the video. And actually, I think right after the video, Span Rice actually changed to this Beast, which has an AoE, so it's still an AoE team, I think. But yep, so do feel free to check that out. But basically, of course, having the Endless Anger probably make it a bit stronger. I might feature Span Rice's team again at some point if it stabilizes. Of course, meta is still changing. People are still changing the teams quite a bit. Okay, and then you do have the standard Aqua with the Pendulum Beast kind of thing also. So this is basically wrap up the top 20 effectively. Do get a bit of a sustain with a reptile, so you do get to see a bit of different things here. And let me just see more of the stuff. Okay, so nothing too surprising, and let me just scroll down a bit more and see, because to be honest, there's really not much surprising things in the top 100 or so. Is pretty standard in that sense. Of course, the lower you do get people using more rare kind of runes, but yeah, still very common is this double bloodlust kind of thing. Yeah, so this is pretty much how the meta is like, and you see a few poison, but really not very common for poisons. Another team that I do want to highlight at some point, if they stayed this way, is MMG's Ace team, right, where it's really just using the rare runes and managing to climb to 21, which is pretty impressive. Okay, so just a quick check for the runes and charms, and you can see that the prices are definitely going down a bit. Even though you can see the same runes and charms are the most expensive ones, but the prices are going down. Similarly for the charms as well. Alright, so you can see, I think that this one was about 20 and now it's 17. Mask of Frenzy similarly, I think. So in the sense, it is similar in terms of like the pattern. You do see the most popular ones being more expensive than the rest, but those are definitely going down in terms of the price, because each player only need a certain number of Sun Stem or Mask of Frenzy, while the supply keeps coming, right? People keep minting, that there will always be more and more of these runes and charms coming up, and so that's why the price will definitely go down. So of course, not financial advice, but if you do plan to, because if you plan to buy this, and the season is gonna be quite long, you might want to wait a bit, depending on your budget, of course. So of course, the earlier you get these runes and charms, then the earlier you get to a higher power level team, and you can go up a bit faster and earn a bit more moon shards earlier, but might not be worth it for everyone, so this is something for you to decide. Okay, so actually let's get into the meta-analysis, the team highlight for today, and let me just try and find it. Okay, today actually we are going to feature this All Leafs team, even though it dropped a bit, but I do want to look into this team is because it is pretty interesting. So I was thinking that it is a sustain build because it's all leaves, but or all plants, but then it is actually more like a leafy attacking kind of plant build, which by RTV Man. So definitely something that I haven't really seen much before. And let me just double check whether, yeah, they have been playing this team for quite a bit, up on the Challenger as well. So yeah, it's definitely viable in that sense. Okay, they do have like maybe 50-50 win rate, but yeah, having a different team being on the ladder Challenger definitely is interesting. So let's just see. Okay, let me just double check. It is this one at the back. Okay, so let's just look at the front first then, because it looks like this is the front. And yes, the front does have a bit of healing, but it is an attack, more kind of attacking build, so you do see a lot of attacking, strong attacking card like Cactus, Carrot for extra energy damage. I think Leafy is really the main point of this team, right? Leafy can do a lot if you play against Leafy at, I would say, usually lower rank like Tiger or even Dragon, then you will see that Leafy can do a lot of damage. And then you do have a Mint to do a cleanser, and then I guess counter the AoE as well, because it is a shield for the whole team, which is effectively 90 shield if you go against AoE team. And Silent Whisper, interesting inclusion for this, for basically to survive long enough for poison build and a bit of healing. Okay, let's just see the mid, and the mid a lot stronger in terms of the attack. So you do have Cactus just to divert the attack, and then to redirect the opponent's attack, and then you get a Sirius as well to deal 90 damage. And then Confusion, also basically the best card in terms of plants eye for attack. Then get another Leafy. Okay, get a Pumpkin to get a card draw, which is pretty strong as well. Allows the front to survive for a bit longer. And then here is basically the same, right? It's I think exactly the same Axie in terms of the moveset. Of course, you know, the color and things are a bit different, but I think they are exactly the same. So in that sense, it's also pretty easy to build. It's all plants cards, so that's why I think it is a relatively cheap team, I would assume, because okay, of course the Leafy is the one that is the hardest to get, but I think the rest are pretty standard even from V2, I believe. So let's just get into it. The interesting thing is, where do they get the leaves to get the Leafy? So let's just get into the game, and then let's just get to the last game and see how this one goes. Interestingly, mostly going against the attacking team, opposing attacking team. So let's see. Okay, so let me just stop a bit here, and let's just actually check out the runes and charms. So yep, Pure Instinct, because it's basically all plants card, so buffing everything including attacks and the shield for 15%. And yes, so this is where it comes in, is the Leafy, this, or leaf pot I think it's called, that basically grants your whole team one leaf when you use this card. So this is where the leaves comes in to basically get the Leafy extra damage. And then similarly, I think it's the same thing, getting a lot of the actually, I want to see how, there's a lot of HP, so there's a very tanky team which tanks opponents attack while doing quite a bit of damage through Leafy and other attack cards. And yep, so all the shields card does get this pot, so that you can get as much of the Leafy, and without using the Clover, I think that's what it's called. Actually, I forgot exactly what the card is called, but summoning a Clover, which actually can be a bit of a waste, just because you do need to use one energy to summon a Clover, and if it doesn't survive, it doesn't give you any leaves. So it's definitely not the most reliable way of getting leaves, and using this particular charm definitely is a lot more reliable. Okay, let's just quickly see the opponent's team as well. Okay, so there's more of a just attacking team with one extra energy, some card draw, and death mark stuff as well. Similarly, just mostly just attack with a Nemo, and then there's just 3 extra energy with a lot of attacks and bubble actually. So that's another thing that I haven't looked at, and I might actually want to look at the opponent's team at some point, because bubble probably will get there at some point, but let's just play and see. Interesting to, because of this So Magical Leaf, yeah, I forgot to mention this. Okay, let me just pause the video here. So this Magical Leaf, yes, forgot to mention, it starts the battle with 3 leaves, and that's why the Leafy does so much damage, right? Because basically, okay, I'll just read this first. Randomly deal 3 hits, okay? Consume 3 leaves to deal 10 extra damage per leaf consumed. If you have 3 leaves, then it deals, instead of 20, it deals 50 per hit, which is pretty crazy, right? So basically 1 cost deals 150 damage in total if you have 3 leaves. So that is why Leafy is so strong. Okay, let's just see how the opponents do. Yep, getting the bubbles going. And not drawing card, but using the extra energy. I guess they don't want to draw a card at that point, and just yeah, play everything. So very strong turn for the opponent as well, just already using 1 extra energy. But of course, RTV's team is pretty tanky, and you can see managed to divert the attack, and so now allowing the front to survive for a bit. So yeah, definitely inspired by this Leafy team. Of course, might be getting the highest level is a bit tougher, but you can still see how it can function pretty well. And Leafy is I think the card that makes this team viable, remotely viable in Challenger. But of course, if you're playing at Tiger or Dragon, you should have no problem climbing, or as demonstrated by RTV. Okay, getting all carrots value as well, very important. I'm getting the cleanse as well, and Leafy does 34 each with 1 leaf. That's, I would say, not bad. 1 card for 100 damage basically, right? 34 each. So still very strong with just 1 leaf. So that's yeah, I would say relatively cheap to build as well, this team, as long as you have Leafy. So actually, I'm quite interested to try this team out. Of course, not sure how much it costs. You can definitely check it out. It's very easy to check this with Leafy. But oh, the opponent already getting into the bubbles. So let's just see if RTV can deny. I think they can deny 1 stack of bubbles, because you can. Yeah, unfortunately this doesn't. Oh, it does KO. Oh, because of using the leaves. Wait. Yeah, I'm not too sure exactly why the carrot was so strong, but I just need to see. Yeah, I didn't think that carrots can actually KO from that range. But let's see what's coming. Okay, this spell is interesting, but yeah, it's actually still pretty close. You can see that this RTV's team is getting pretty low. So do they get the Leafy? Yep, the Leafy, I think it's here, double Leafy. I think it's pretty strong. Yep, stacking the more leaves as well, and then you can see 57 hits, 57 each because of 3 hits. So the good part about this kind of setup is that the opponents does require quite a number of attacks to get through, because you do have 3 Axie still alive. Because with the cactus you can distribute your the damage quite a bit. So that is actually another part that for this team to function. And let's just see how what I can finish off. Actually, not quite, right? Is it? Yeah, definitely not a KO. But being able to shield and maybe getting out of KO range. Interesting that this looks like it could be oh yeah, okay, in this case it's really just the opponent not really having the best of draw to finish it off. So yeah, actually it's still a very, very close game, but you can see how Leafy does the extra damage that allows RTV in this case to just about surviving. And yep, Leafy should be a KO with 3, because 57 each leaves is just crazy. 1 energy deals what, over 150 damage. That's basically how this team can be so strong. But still, because it doesn't have pendulum scale, it's still taking a lot of damage. That's why it's actually pretty close. Okay, so let's look at another one and see how this one goes. Okay, right, so let me pause the video here. So similar kind of matchup, but I think it's really just about who outraced the aggro at this point, and it looks like it's pretty similar in terms of, yeah, it's basically exactly the same. So let's just see how this one goes. So pendulum scale beast, you do want all the I guess Vitality Charms with 1 free energy, another free energy with Nemo, also bubble kind of team. So yeah, I think definitely getting more bubbles at the challenger level, but maybe not at the top of the challenger, but definitely a bit lower on the challenger. You do get to see more bubble stuff going on. Okay, so it's pretty interesting to see how this time round the opponents does use an extra energy already. So pretty strong start, I would say. And maybe getting the weak is it's the tough part. So they're gonna use the Leafy. Interestingly, not using the Leafy. Probably because it's just once you don't have any leaves, then the Leafy actually is not worth the value. I think this team does rely on drawing into the shield card that allows you to boost up the Leafy, but unfortunately you can see how this team might not function as well when you have this kind of draw. Might not even use the Leafy, right? So unfortunately, getting the Leafys before the shield is very tough. Of course, sometimes you just don't get a good draw because you got the shield so that you get the leaves, and then once you have the leaves, then you do the Leafy. Opponents very strong in getting all the bubbles ready. So it just looks like RTV in this case is gonna be a bit slow in setting up the leaves, even though now can get 2 stacks through 2 pumpkins, and then getting the card draw actually very important as well. You do want to get draw into your leaf as soon as you put up the leaves as well, so you just want to deal as much damage as possible. But the opponent, you can see, managed to get pretty much all the value. Do they have 1 attack from the front? Actually no. Interestingly, not being able to use this particular, oh no, they do with the Ronin, right? Yeah, so managed to use this bubble as well, so that's why the back is already going down, because of death mark, the bubbles and everything. It's this crazy amount, and very unfortunate only getting 1 Leafy, so it does 30 something damage each, about 40, but I think might not be enough in this case, but the shield definitely helps. But I think these death mark is getting a bit much. Yeah, you can see the death mark is just dealing a lot of damage with an extra attack as well. So that's why I think at this point all the Axies of RTV is just very weak, and the opponents still have 2 very very full health Axie. So even if you can see 5 stack using all the Leafys, but the limit of Leafy is that the maximum amount that you can deal is 57 with this rune, right? So unfortunately in this case, losing the race, well, with so many bubbles, so it's in this case of course a tough draw as well, but it is about racing. In this case, the bubble just got a bit faster than the leaves, and so this is how you can, I guess, outrace this particular leaf build. So I would say pretty close kind of thing, but if you are on a budget and if you don't want to play something different from the meta or from what everyone is playing, then do give the Leafy build a try, because I would assume it is definitely a bit cheaper from the rest of the meta. And just let's say Bloodlust already costs quite a bit, while the runes and charms for the Leafy build doesn't cost as much. So do give it a go if you're on a budget or just want to play something different. Okay, so that's it for today. Thank you for joining me, and I'll see you next time. Thank you all for watching. If you enjoyed my video, do consider giving me a like, comment, subscribe, follow me on Twitch, and use my Lenosian code Morris. Thanks again, and have a good one.